Hi, my name's Catherine Bogle, and you're watching my review on Game of Thrones Season 3, Episode 2, Dark Wings, Dark Words. Not really sure what the name of this one means. I feel like it's kind of a play on the Ravens and Brann, especially because we start off the episode with Brann and friends. So Brann's looking older. He looks like he's aged at least like a year or so. I'm not really sure how old he's supposed to be. So he's running through the woods, and then he sees the three-eyed raven, and then he has kind of this dream flashback of Robb and Jon in I think the first episode when they were making fun of him for not hitting his target. Then this random kid appears, and he's like, hey, you can't kill the raven because you are the raven, and blah blah blah, and we're just like, what? Who are you? This is a dream. What's happening? Then, of course, he wakes up, and he has the two dire wolves looking adorable and awesome, and everyone else is there and wondering, what's wrong, but he just had a nightmare, guys. It's all good. So then we skip to Robb and his new wife, whose name I continuously forget. She's kind of making fun of them and calling them, the king of the stinking barbarians. I thought that was pretty cute and kind of funny, because from where she's from, they probably would call them that, all the time. Then they get word from Riverrun and Winterfell, and then we go to Catelyn, and Robb's, telling her, and it's oh my god, that's so sad. Catelyn's just, crying, and, because she finds that her father's dead, and there's gonna be a funeral soon. And then, of course, there's more bad news, and he has to tell her about Winterfell and how it's been, basically burned to the ground, and Brann and Rickon are just nowhere to be found. They think they might have been taken to the Iron Islands with Theon, but then again, there's been no, demands, there's been no word from Theon, so I think they're kind of, dissuaded by that. And then we get to see some of my favorite two, Brann and Jamie. Of course, Jamie's being a bucket of sass to poor Brann. They're kind of the comic relief, though, of the show, and because Jamie's really bitchy, and he's being an ass all the time, and Brann's just kind of fuck off. I don't give a shit, Jamie, just shut up. And then Jamie figures out about Renly, and Brann's just looking at him friggin' Brann's gonna kill you if you don't friggin' shut up, Jamie. Then we have this dude who kind of stops by and is oh, hey guys, you guys sticking off the road too? And they're yeah. And Jamie's you need to kill him. And Brann's I'm not gonna kill some innocent guy. And then Jamie's you gotta kill him, he knows who I am. And Brann's no man, he doesn't. And of course that kind of sucks ass, because then Jamie ends up being right. Who would have thunk it? Cue Joffrey in King's Landing. So surprise, surprise, Joffrey's being a little prick as usual. And of course Cersei's is taking shots at Lady Marjorie and saying that intelligent women do what they're told. Well, Joffrey says that about her because Cersei's is kind of being really annoying. But it's really, Joffrey? Really? Have you met your mother? Does she do what she's told? Then we get to Sansa and Shae. They're talking about Littlefinger, and Shae's pretty afraid that, Lord Baelish wants in Sansa's pants. I don't really think that's it, but it's kind of funny because it's so cute. She's just looking out for her, and she's almost like a mother in a way to her, or a big sister. And then, of course, Sir Loras comes to invite Sansa to go have, kind of tea and crumpets or something, middle-aged version of that, with Lady Marjorie and her grandmother. So Lady Olenna of House Tyrell is the grandmother of freaking Marjorie and Sir Loras. She's talking about her foolish flock of hens, and she's so sassy and wonderful. I loved her. She was great. I feel like she might have had ulterior motives, but she seemed like a pretty sweet new character. She reminds me a bit of the comic relief that we have between Brann and Jamie. And then of course things get a little serious, and she asks her about Joffrey. Shit. Sansa's kind of stumbling over her words a little, but eventually she tells her the truth, and she tells them that Joffrey's evil incarnate. And just the look on Sansa's face, she is so afraid that they're gonna like go tell Joffrey, and she doesn't want to tell the truth, and it's honestly so sad, and like I feel so bad for Sansa. I really hope this is not gonna come back to bite her in the ass. So then we're back to Robb and the Northerners. They're apparently going to the funeral of their grandfather, so Catelyn's father. So then, of course, Robb's wife comes to talk to Catelyn, and they're kind of talking about, like, protecting children and stuff, and it gets kind of sad. She's, like, making that thing to protect her children, and we kind of see, like, why. Like, we never really knew what that thing was before, but she was making it when Brann was, like, almost dead. And then apparently it, like, worked, and it, like, saved his life and stuff, and it's supposed to be, like, a way of praying to the gods and stuff. And then we talk about this time that we didn't know about, where Jon had, like, pox or something, and he almost died, and she had actually apparently wished that upon him. She prayed to the gods that they would find a way to kill this poor innocent child. But then afterwards she realized that that was a terrible thing to wish upon a child, and she thought she was like the worst woman ever. But then she promised the gods that if they let him live, she would love him and try and like make him one of her own, and they would give him like a Stark name. And then, of course, she couldn't keep her promise, and poor Jon is Jon Snow for a reason. But he lived, so it all kind of worked out okay-ish. Then, of course, at the mention of Jon, we cue Jon. So they're speaking about the different clans and the wildlings. He's talking to the leader, and it's actually kind of insightful, because we get to learn about how there's different clans, and they do different things, and they all kind of hate each other. And then we meet this creature that's like a person called a wog. So a wog is a dude who can like go into the minds of animals, and I guess people too, or something. But the guy who did that saw dead crows. So then of course we cue the other crows. So then we have Sam crying, and there's a dude just being a right asshole to freaking Sam, and it's really sad because Sam's like all weepy because they all left him and stuff, and it kind of like, come on, Sam, like, I get why they did. They were running away from White Walkers. They didn't mean to leave you. Like, calm the fuck down. But then, of course, the leader dude comes up and he's like, Sam, I forbid you to die, and Guy, if he dies, you die too. So you're going to help him. And it's just like, you fucking deserve that, Guy. This is why you don't be a dick to people. Like, just be nice. It's unnecessary. And hello, Brann again. He wakes up to the wildling woman whose name I can never remember. So clearly something's up, and then the boy from the dream comes after she runs off into the forest. And it's like, what? You're real? You're not just from the dream world? Or I guess this is what my thought process is like. I'm like, you're a real person? What is happening? So the guy instantly calms Summer. And then, of course, the wildling woman comes back and she, like, points a spear at his neck, but then dude's sister, like, sneakily is up behind him and, like, holds a knife to her throat, and kind of a dirty move there, but it was really smart. So we find out there Jogan and Mira Reed, and I know that's supposed to have some significance, but I kind of forget. But later on they kind of discuss that that's his father saved Ned Stark there at some point, so it saved Bran's father during the rebellion, so that's pretty cool. And we find out they've actually specifically come to find him, and they have much further to go. Cue Arya! I'm so excited for this part. I was just waiting for her to be in an episode. And we have Gendry telling her how she could have picked better people for friggin' Jaqen to kill, and it's like, seriously, Gendry, she saved your asses. Like, I get it, she could have ended the war and stuff, but like, Jaqen also didn't specify that when she told someone, like, gave him a name, that they would be dead soon. It could be like any time. So do you really want to waste that time and wait, or do you want to get the frig out of there and go like lollygag off to like Winterfell or somewhere safe? So they're talking about heading up to Riverrun and stuff when these random guys appear out of the forest, and they know they're there, and they just have this weird little squabble in the forest. The guy's name is Tora Sumir, and he thinks, like, right away that they escaped from Harrenhal. So they fight for the Brotherhood with, like, no banners, and they basically just invite them, or not invite them, are forcing them to go eat with them. And now, hello, Lady Marjorie, going to see Joffrey. Apparently he's going on a hunting trip, and he asks her about Renly, and it's really, like, the scene is kind of, like, weird. It's, like, because it's, like, he's questioning her, but at the same time, like, she's just all sucking up to him the whole time. And at the same time, she's, like, afraid of him. So it's like, it's weird. So she ends up confessing that Renly was gay, and then Joffrey's like, oh, well, I was thinking about making this rule that all gay people should be killed on sight, basically. And then, yes, Marjorie, by all means, encourage the psychopath. And then she basically says that she wants to kill something, and then she asks if Joffrey wants to watch, and Joffrey's, of course, like, fuck yeah. Seriously? Holy shit, this is about to breed one psychotic relationship. This is not good. Like, I do not foresee good things for this relationship. And now Theon's being tortured. Again, imagine that. They're questioning him, and then Theon's actually telling the truth about, like, everything. And they just keep screwing this cork thing into his foot, and I actually feel really bad for Theon. Like, there's been no point, really, in this show where I felt bad for Theon, but I feel bad for him now. Like, that must freaking hurt. And then at the end, this dude kind of comes in, and he's like, I've been sent by Yara, and I'm going to save you tonight. And then Theon's just crying out, like, no, don't leave me. And it's like, you are such a muffin, Theon. Like, you are ridiculously sad right now. In a way, you kind of, no, you deserve it, but, like, I wouldn't wish that upon anyone. And back to Brann and friends. Brann is talking to the jogging guy, and he's kind of telling him about how he is a wog. So apparently these wog things are now a big thing. There's a guy in the wildlings, and now we have two wogs here together, Brann and Joggin. And then we find out what the hell this three-eyed raven thing is supposed to mean. It kind of brings things from the future and the past, or like any point in time, and like, so basically like fills you in on shit. And this is actually when we find out that Howland Reed, their father, was the one who saved Ned during the rebellion or whatever. I already mentioned that. And then apparently ever since, like, the boy has just been seeing shit about Brann, and so he went to find him or whatever. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the hell's happening with these guys. Like, this looks like a really interesting plot line, and I'm really excited for them to explore this. And then we're back to Arya again. Yay! So they're having ale with the three young persons, because she doesn't want to be called a child. And then Arya's gonna fight this dude, and he just, like, swats her sword away, and it's like, that was really embarrassing, Arya. I think you should have been a little more on your toes with that one. And then he's actually, like, giving them a meal, apparently, and he is freeing them, and they're just leaving when they bring in this hooded person, and they whip the hood off, and I'm like, oh, it's the Hound! I actually love the Hound, and oh my god, then he rats out Arya, and it's like, shit. What is gonna happen here? And of course, they freaking cut the scene, like, right there, and you're just like, thanks for that, guys. And we're back to Jamie and Brann. And Jamie is being such an ass. And then he just, like, sits in the middle of the bridge, obviously knowing someone is going to find them. But then he, like, steals one of Brann's swords, cuts the rope, and they get into this battle, and then, like, of course he's probably, like, freaking, like, hungry and, like, tired, so, like, he's not at his best fighting point or anything, but Brann just, like, kicks his ass easily, but that's obviously because he wasn't at top notch, but I'd like to actually see them really go into a duel. So then these dudes on horses show up, and I forget what the dude's name was, but then he mentioned something about the King of the North, and it's just like, yes! Someone on Robb's side, so it's not some douchebag on the side of freaking Joffrey. Like, I would have been so pissed if it was, but, like, someone on Robb's side, at least, like, the side venture might be over, kind of, but they might take them back to, like, Robb and Catelyn and peeps. I don't know. And then, of course, the episode ends, like, right there, and it leaves you at a big cliffhanger like they do every single freaking episode. That's the second episode. A lot of stuff happened. Like, a lot of stuff did. And I'm really excited for the next episode. I'm so excited to see what happens with Arya and with Jamie and Brann. And honestly, I'm kind of excited to see what the hell this Marjorie-Joffrey relationship is happening here, because it's kind of creepy and weird, and honestly, like, I think it's gonna be really scary, but I'm excited to see what happens. So I hope you like this video, and I hope it's not too long. Thank you for watching. My name is Catherine Bogle, and you just watched my review on the second episode of Season 3 of Game of Thrones.